Next coach is going to make you want to have a beer after watching this if you're a fan of his team. Baylor lost to Texas State, and Dave Aranda afterwards, just weird. I'm just going to leave it at that.
To you guys, very disappointed with tonight, and it's a disappointed locker room, and just throughout camp, just talking about how many games are lost early in the season rather than won. And it's hard to talk about that because I don't want that to be taken in any way, anything away from Texas State. I thought that the energy they played with and the penetration they got and the excitement that they played with was really strong, and they've got really great playmakers, and I thought they dialed stuff up and was able to hit things when they wanted them and got matchups and all of that.
Dave, I know it's hard to ask this question. At the same time, is this acceptable? And this was bad.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it's not acceptable. I talked to the team about how it's not. And so I think, I take responsibility for it. I thought that whether it was the wide eyes or the lack of details and just all those things were things that, I take a lot of pride in, and I was counting on those things being done, or that they were done, and to come and see that they're not is painful, and so we'll get better from it.
He sounds like his kid didn't take out the trash.
Was he at camp?
He's like, I was disappointed by that.
I thought things were going to get done that didn't get done. Were you there?
Yeah, that was bizarre. And he said they were. These coaches have to make up their minds, because he complained about wide eyes, and then Jimbo's complaining about eyes being shut. I guess there's a middle ground where you just have normal eyes, and that's next. I guess that's where the phrase, the word comes from, normal eyes.
The great thing about and Adam Fuller, who we cover, had sloppy eyes. He talked about sloppy eyes this week.
I've had sloppy eyes a lot in my life.
2 a.m. at the bar. 2 a.m. at the bar. Absolutely.
Lots of sloppy-eyed nights around here. Yeah.
Sometimes it works out. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Here's the thing, though. Like, Dave Aranda is one of those guys. He's one of my favorite kind of coaches because he's out there, right? Like, the sports writers love the Mike Leaches.
Yeah.
May he rest in peace. They love the Dave Arandas because they do it differently. And if you Google like stories about Dave Aranda, it's always like, he's just different. He's zen. He's into this, and he's not your typical coach, which is all fine and well when you're winning. But when you lose and you get embarrassed by Texas, was it North Texas State or whoever?
Texas State.
You come across as stoned.
It's like, dude, how many Xanaxes did you take before you went up on that podium?
He also said 12 times, and he also said 3 times before he said any words. It was just gibberish. It was
Yeah, again, I think it goes back to I guess that's Baylor's fans' lot in life if he's their coach. And he's done some really good things in his career, but when they lose, disappointingly, you're not going to get the fire and brimstone. He can't even light a match. That was like a guy telling people in the library to be quiet. He was really, really
that guy arrived
soft-spoken
on game day to see his team for the first time.
Well, that's true. He had been away from camp for a month.
That was nuts. The whole thing. He's like, things that I expect to get done. It's like he left his kids at home, went on a long vacation. Guys, nobody's mowed the lawn. The garbage hasn't been taken out. When was the last time one of you brought the mail in? This is the kind of stuff I expect to get done.
The best part about it is if you watch I watched his Tuesday press conference, and he responds to every question with appreciate it or appreciate that. Whatever they ask, he'll say, okay, I appreciate that. And then he'll answer the question. I cannot wait till they're 2-9 and people are like, Coach Aranda, can you explain how you still have a job? I appreciate that.
I appreciate that. Appreciate that question. Appreciate you being here asking that question.
Thanks for asking about my job security. I always appreciate that.
Next up is a coach that I think you guys have had experience with before, with interesting analogies. He came out with another one at Arizona State this past week. So Kenny Dillingham, let's hear it.
Bamboo.
Has nothing to do with the quarterback. This is a unit that we got to figure out. It's the best combination of a unit. What is that really expensive thing that people put on fries? I'm spacing on it. Truffle, right? My wife always talks about it, right? You know, Truffle's elite, but you can't put Truffle in everything. So you've got to find a way to, you may have an elite guy at some place, but the Truffle may not make it better because the recipe is different now because you don't have these other ingredients. So even though you have Truffle there, you may not be able to use it if all the other ingredients are here. So sorry for the weird comparison. We were just eating the other night, and that's when my wife talked about, you know, those fries are expensive because it's truffle, right? But I think that's the best way to explain offense and defense in football is everybody wants to treat it as it's one person or it's one this. No, it's a recipe of success. And one person may be so great at all these things, but because you don't have these other things at your arsenal now,
The hand.
this person may not be as successful with this current recipe. And you've got to be able to adapt to what you have and then be as successful as possible with it.
What's going on in the Dillingham family where his wife would have to point out to him that they're eating expensive fries? Like what? So when you're having dinner the other night and your wife's like, "Do you understand how expensive these fries?" What's going on?
He wasn't eating all his fries, and he only makes like $3 million a year or something.
How did that come up? Can you imagine if your wife? If
I mean, look, man.
Do you understand how expensive these fries?
I like Kenny. Kenny, for the people
We
that
all
don't
like
know,
Kenny. We all
was
like
the
Kenny.
OC at Florida State for a couple years under Norvell. I don't know that he's the most worldly guy. I think his history with fries is McDonald's or Wendy's, and they don't have truffle there. By the way, I would argue this: McDonald's fries are better than anything with truffle.
Hey, truffle.
So explain that to me, Kenny. That should have been part of the comparison with you got McDonald's here and you got truffle here and you go back and forth with the truffle. I like that he also said after that nonsense for 30 seconds about truffle, he goes, and that's the best way to explain offenses. It's like, nope, it isn't at all. You can do better. Take
You
two.
got ingredients over here, but then you have this thing over here, and that's you see what I'm saying? No, I don't. I don't see what you're saying.
Yeah, he hit us with, and I like Kenny a lot too. And he hit us back in the day with the bamboo analogy,
Which was awesome.
Which was great. And it was, and like, you know, people, that is a real like thing. Like people will talk about that.
Yeah.
That you have to take 10 different years or whatever. And then all of a sudden but it was just so funny the way he does it. And it seems, I don't know, like coaches have to figure out a way to communicate, but I don't understand how putting truffle on a quarterback is going to make you any better or not better.
Not everything has to be an analogy.
Yeah.
You could also, Kenny, what's going on with you and your wife? That's just a weird dinner table conversation.
I think she's more worldly. Number one, I bet they were out at a restaurant, and I think she's just a little more worldly.
Do you know how expensive these fries are?
I can tell you this. I think if he asked that question to the Florida State media, we'd still be sitting there wondering what he was talking about because I wouldn't have said truffle. That would have never come up. I'd have been like, oh, bacon? You had bacon to fries or cheese?
Like stuff you put on fries? Cheese?
Melted cheese? Yeah. Okay.
It's Arizona, buddy. It's Arizona. They're a little classier out there.
I guess.
Hey, we're going to keep it in Pennsylvania for this next one. Pat Narduzzi, he's had to talk about Pitt fans booing him the last 2 weeks. So we'll see what he has to say about that. They had a tough loss to West Virginia.
They did.
All concerned about Phil's psyche going into this game after having 2 rough games, and he was booed against while there were boos from the home crowd.
Who are they booing? I think they were booing me, just so we're on the same page. Did they say boo Phil or boo coach? Like there's boos, so I don't know who they were at, but at least from what I hear, because I don't hear those things with my headphones on, and I'm not sure our kids really do either. I'm sure someone said something to him or to me or whatever and said there was boos. I think there was boos in the first game, someone said, correct? We're in Boo City, so Boo City, PA. But again, I think we talked about that a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I don't know when it was, but hey, it is what it is. If that's what they want to do, that's great. It should not affect us or our psyche.
Print the shirts, baby. Print the shirts. Boo City, Pennsylvania.
I'm buying one tomorrow. I interviewed Narduzzi in Charlotte, and I spoke to him off the record and on the record, and he's my favorite coach in the conference. That dude is nuts and awesome in a great way. He's bizarre, and I'm not – we're going to be using him a lot, Ben. I like Narduzzi. Who, by the way,
if they're not very good. If their offense continues to look like this, there's going to be a lot of answers like that.
Well, the only thing I'll say really quickly, and I can sense his frustration, Pitt is the second winningest team in the ACC since 2019.
Yeah.
They just won the ACC title a couple years ago. He's probably like, guys.
I mean, I turned Boo City into a championship city, and you're going to boo me? Give me a break.
It is interesting in college football because that's I guess that's the out. Like when a quarterback that the fans are not happy with is playing poorly and the fans boo, they can say, "Oh, we weren't booing the kid. We're not booing that 20-year-old. We're booing the coach." Well, the kid is the one that has to go out on the field. Is you're all booing the coach.
And I also think they're booing the kid.
I think they're booing the kid too.
But people will say they're booing the coach.
Who can decipher it? You remember Michael Moore, the filmmaker, liberal filmmaker, that he won an Oscar for one of his movies. It might have been
Roger and Me.
No, it was the one in 2000s. It was after 9/11.
Bowling for Columbine.
That's probably what it was. And he got up and started talking about, y'all got to stop with this fear of orange zones and red zones and green zone for the warnings. And then people started booing him. And then they talked to Michael Moore later. He's like, the first people started booing me, but all those other people that were booing the people that were booing me. And I'm like, what are you talking about, man? Did you ask those people how do you make that in your head? There's only a small section that was booing me. Everybody else was booing the booers.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what's happening in Pittsburgh. They're booing the booers.
Pat's telling himself that anyway.
Yeah, apparently.
I just wanted to be on the record. I'm a Narduzzi fan. Let's bring him in here every week. He's funny.
Hey, we've got someone auditioning for the Coach Speak Hall of Fame right here with Minnesota coach PJ Fleck.
Here we go.
Next level stuff, guys.
Jim Tressel taught me a lesson a long time ago. I asked him a question. I said, why do you coach college football? You don't get much time with a head coach when you're a GA, especially when there's only one GA. He goes, good question. He goes, because you never know what's going to happen. And I was like, that's the greatest answer ever, but the scariest answer at the same time. So what makes us really enjoy it can scare the hell out of you at the same time. And that's the enjoyment. That's what, when dealing with young people, that's why you do it. And things like this are really hard to take, but it's part of life. So is when you come home and your wife tells you she has cancer.
Oh,
so
my
is
God.
when your child dies. So is when your family's pet dies.
No.
Or when there's a divorce in the family. There are so many things that are really hard. And this program teaches them to hit it head on. We are going to roll right through the storm. However long the storm takes, we're rolling right through it. We're not going around it.
Like
we're not jumping out of the boat. We're going right through it. And that's why it's so fun to work with young people. And I guess that's why Jim Tressel said that. So that's been the best, one of the best quotes and advice. I don't know if it was advice. He really just answered the question, but I took that advice.
It really wasn't advice.
A great question. So
and he didn't mean
we'll
it
get through
way.
it. And they came in yesterday, positive attitude, and we look forward to meeting with a lot of them today. A lot of them guys are already in there, and then we'll come back and respond tomorrow.
I think Tressel was kind of like, man, keep my name out of your mouth. Keep my name out of your mouth if you're going to bring up wife cancer after you lose to Northwestern.
No, and worse yet, he doubled down after the wife cancer and
it
said,
went to a
or
kid
your
dying.
kid died.
Or your kid dies.
What in the hell are you talking about? So it's the same. Hey, guys, the unexpected in this game, it's a little bit like when your kid dies.
Yeah, you guys.
What are you
when
talking
your
about?
son passes away.
And that's why we love the game so much.
Yeah, because you never know. That's why you love life, because you never know.
You know what? Some of us go through life, and the next thing you know, our wife has cancer.
Yeah.
But that's why you love life.
Yeah.
You gotta keep going.
You don't know.
It was the best advice. Well, it really wasn't advice, in fact.
Nope.
I don't know why I'm saying this.
I'm just get out of the room.
I'm just trying to fill time now because I'm tired of answering questions.
It just went. Look, it sounded like a nonsensical answer to begin with, because he's like, why do you like college football instead of, I guess, the NFL was the premise. And he's like, because you never know. And I'm like, well, that's dumb because you don't know in the NFL either. But okay, finish your thought. And then he takes a real dark turn, which blowing a 21-point lead to Northwestern in the fourth quarter can do that to you. But it took such a dark turn where he went, wife has cancer, kid dies. And then he started to kind of peel back to like normal. What was the one after that? It wasn't nearly as bad. It was a pet dying.
Yeah, pet,
maybe
you
a
lose
pet
a hamster. Your hamster dies.
Yeah, which is that you go from a wife to a daughter or son.
Corey, think of the through line here. He is trying to tell you that the reason that they coach college football is the unpredictability of coaching kids. You never know what's going to happen. Right. It's not unlike when your wife gets cancer, your child dies, or your pet dies.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Those are the bad times. Those are the bad times, but there are good times when your wife doesn't get cancer.
Yeah, it makes you appreciate that.
You got to focus on those. Yeah.
PJ.
That was
the
rough.
Worst person that I thought you were, and I already thought you were terrible.
That was rough. That was rough. That was not a great look. That was almost as bad as what happened on Saturday. If you're a Minnesota fan, you're like, oh God, no.
This is our head coach.
Ben, last one, whatever this one is, let's make it a good one. Here we go.
Yeah, I like how he also squeezed the row the boat analogy in there.
Yes, rowing through it.
Like, come on, man.
There's some tragedies that you just got to find a way, and that's what you love about life. So,
honey, he comes home. His wife's like, honey, I've got cancer. And he's like, all right, we just got to keep rowing.
Wait, got to paddle. Get that paddle. Let's go.
Speaking of Florida, some issues going on there. And I think we're going to have a coach speak first. We're going to switch up the view just so everyone can see your reactions to the terribleness that is this Billy Napier press conference.
All right.
Yeah, we should point that out. We have not seen these clips.
I mean, I'm on the inside, right? I have relationships with the staff, with the players. We're getting better at our process. I think that we have young players that are getting experience, that are growing and developing. I think we have veteran players that have improved as people and as leaders. And I think that we played good football at times. Some of these questions you're asking, you weren't asking a couple weeks ago.
All right, pause it, Ben. Pause right there. Okay, we've got, guys, myriad problems here right off the bat. If you're a Florida fan, we just got a reference to growing leaders.
People.
Yeah. They're good people.
Yeah.
They're becoming better leaders. We got problems, guys. If he brings up academics, we've got a real problem on our hands here because we're already going to the leadership card and the better people card.
I actually, and Corey said we haven't seen these. I actually saw this whole press conference, and he actually, and it wouldn't have made good viewing, but I'll just fill you in his introductory statement, which was 5 or 6 minutes, a good filibuster.
What about Gator Growl?
Oh, and he also talked about the internship program they have.
Okay.
They have some big internship program where there's all these life opportunities for the student athletes. And he picked this week, coincidentally, when they just got bludgeoned by Kentucky, to share that information.
Well, it's pretty clear that he's being asked about the signs of growth because he right off the bat says, I'm on the inside. And that's obviously a shot at the reporter. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm on the inside. Even though on the field, the results speak for themselves. You just got your ass beat by Kentucky in every manner. You can't possibly know how much we've grown. I'm on the inside.
Yeah.
And you weren't asking these questions a couple weeks ago, were you?
I wonder how he thinks it works, by the way, that after wins, say you beat somebody 56-0, people don't question the process. People don't question whether or not you're improving. But somehow magically, when you lose by 24 points on the road, somebody's curious about the process.
And you give up 300 yards rushing and look like you don't want to be there from the start of the game.
Come on.
Yeah, people might question you. I want to keep an eye on that water bottle.
All right.
Most coaches don't even pick it up. He's got it picked up as if he's going to drink from it. So does he say a snide comment and then take a sip like our man Willie Taggart did back in the day, which would have been an all-time coach speak moment?
Nice.
I want to keep an eye on that water bottle.
I like it, Corey. You're going digging deep here. I like this. Let's go, Ben. Let's see it.
Ultimately, it is what it is, right? We have to deal with the result. So when we lose, we got to come in here every weekend and answer questions from the outside, right? So nothing's changed here. When we play well, we do what we're supposed to do. We coach well. We're capable of winning games. There's an old Brad Stevens quote. You're really close to being a very average team, and you're really close to being a really good team. And I feel that way about our football team. I think if we're ready, we're capable, and we're executing, and we're playing with good communication, good fundamentals and techniques, we have urgency, we have hunger about us, we play with discipline, we can be in a very effective team. If we don't have those things, we can be a very below average team as well.
All right, pause it.
So Brad Stevens came up with that line?
Not only that, is Brad Stevens the new John Wooden? Like, I didn't know he was old enough to have football coaches that I assume are his age or older quoting his quotes.
By the way, that there's an old Brad Stevens quote. This isn't the new Brad Stevens. This isn't the one you're aware of recently. This is Brad Stevens when he was 9.
Yeah, yes, right. Well, yeah, right. When he's on his rec basketball team, guys, we could be really good, or we could be bad.
He's like, I read in a book once this quote from Brad Stevens. You remember him?
My favorite part is that he figures he can fill the time at this point as he's being questioned about bludgeoning, as we referenced, with just a bunch of ridiculous rhetoric. Just when we play well, we can win. When we play poorly, we lose.
And then we have to come in, answer questions from the outside.
Yeah, I got to answer questions from the outside, whether we win or lose. It's like, yeah, man, that's part of the job. And the outside is not those people in that room. It's the people watching you that pay millions of dollars to come watch your football team play. Do not call them outsiders. Do not refer to your fans as outsiders.
They cared about Florida football a little bit longer than he did, and will continue to care about Florida a little bit longer than he's there.
I hate to always bring it back to Jimbo Fisher, but we all recall covering Jimbo Fisher, how frequently he would reference Florida State fans as y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all don't know. Y'all, well, my man. Ain't this a we? What are we doing here?
Are we playing we fence, Coach?
Yeah.
That's right.
At $8 to $9 million a year, I feel like this is a we.
Yeah, we're all in this together.
All right, let's go, Billy. What else do you got for us?
I spoke about this briefly in preseason. I think everything that we do is always being evaluated, right? And I think one of the things that's challenging as a leader when you have a core responsibility, if things in that area can be done better, you got to be able to tell yourself the truth, if that makes sense. So, and I would tell you, I'm a lot more critical of myself than anybody on the outside is, right? So,
there it is again, Corey.
Outside.
I've said it publicly. There's no sugarcoating this thing. We have no excuse. We can coach better and we can play better, right? And I'm hopeful we will do that. This is 2023.
I understand, but so I want to go back to your Louisiana teams and your process there, because I didn't follow your year there. Are you seeing similarities with what's going on in terms of the rebuild, the struggle early? Are you seeing signs that you saw there? That maybe
Stop tapping the dais.
Yeah, no, I've got a ton of confidence in what we do and how we do it. We didn't play well Saturday, but that doesn't change my belief in what we do and how we do it. Now, reality is you got to always have the ability to adapt, and we've adapted in the past. I think everything's always, you're always evaluating.
Is he tired?
The water. He needs the water.
Put your team. Each team's a little bit different, right? There's strengths and weaknesses of each team, right? So I think that's part of coaching. Is evolving based off the personnel you have, the strengths and weaknesses. What skill players do you have that year? What type of quarterback do you have? So,
do you think he talks this slow all the time?
I hope not, man.
Just to outsiders. Just to the outside.
Hey, so by the way, he thought he had a gotcha moment on that reporter who asked him about Vanderbilt from last year, and he said, "This is 2023."
No, he wasn't asking about Vanderbilt. He's asking about what he did at Louisiana.
No. The original question was about Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Oh,
he says
if it got cut out, but yeah, he was asking him about you just lost to Kentucky. You got Vanderbilt coming up, and they beat you last year.
This is 2023.
Yeah.
He didn't let the guy finish, because then you heard it, Corey. The guy says, yeah, I know. I'm going to ask you about Louisiana and the process. Is it similar to what you did there? Because I didn't cover Louisiana.
Yeah.
So he looked like an ass because he didn't let the guy finish his question. He thought he was going to have a gotcha moment with the 2023 comment. So it's already, he's on the defensive. He's talking about academics and internship opportunities. He referenced Gator Growl in the larger version of this several times, and how great it is and how cool the University of Florida is for the fans to come back to. Anything but talking about that last ass kicking and the problem in the process of getting better. Anything. I'm surprised he didn't cite the school colors.
Look, man, it's Florida. So, if you win, they're going to be happy with you. But every school is. if you win. But good grief, that's your leader? Like, that's your leader? That's the guy you're rallying behind? These Florida fans and what they've had to put up with coaching-wise, literally since Spurrier, is unbelievable. Just the personalities and the unlikable personalities. I guess Muschamp was likable. All the other ones weren't, but he wasn't a very good coach. All the other ones, you've got Dan Mullen, the weirdo. You've got Shark Tank. You've got Zook. Meyer, who was a great coach, but good grief with that guy, like, golly. And then they got this dude who looks like he'd rather be anywhere else in the world than Gainesville, Florida, coaching a football team. That's what he presents to us outsiders.
I like that he keeps referring to them as outsiders. This is going to age well.
Yeah.
He could have, look, man, he didn't go to the Patino route. He didn't say, hey, Lewis Oliver's not walking through that door.
Lewis Oliver, Chris Collinsworth ain't walking through that door.
Wilbur
Marshall's
not walking through that door, guys.
Neil Anderson, none of them.
Well played. All right.
Well, I know you guys have been eager to discuss Miami head coach Mario Cristobal. America has been ready for you guys to discuss Miami head coach Mario Cristobal. I'm sure everyone knows Miami had a chance to beat Georgia Tech. All they needed to do was just take a knee. They decided, though, that they wanted to get their running back to 100 yards. He fumbled. Georgia Tech then goes 2 plays and 75 yards to win.
I've started. It was going to be at 157, and we could burn about 127 off, and then it was recalibrated. I should have taken a timeout right there at the end. Thought he could get the first down, and we talked about 2 hands on the ball, but that's not good enough. Just should have told him to take a knee, and that's it. Fumbled the ball at 25, and they went 75 yards in 2 plays. So, no excuse.
All right, just for clarification, it was 3rd and 10, so you're saying you guys could have got the first down. Is that why you did it?
What's that?
It was 3rd and 10 on that fumble play. Is that you're saying that you could have got the first down? Is that why you guys didn't go ahead and take a knee on that play?
We should have taken a knee. Okay.
Okay, so this is beautiful on a lot of levels, guys. And the reason I want to bring this up is bravo to whoever that reporter is.
Right.
Who saw through the mumbo-jumbo nonsense that Mario Cristobal was throwing out there.
Hey, man, they might have recalibrated.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, he's calling BS. That's not a question. That's a nice way of saying BS. And then Cristobal realizes it, and he's like, okay, I'm already digging a hole. Let me just say
You got me.
You got me.
You got me.
You got me. But do you like the way, guys, that he rolled his player under the bus?
Yeah, man, the whole thing, I'm still mad about it. And nobody here is cheering for Miami necessarily. I don't care about the Miami Hurricanes football program. I'm mad for their players. I'm mad for that kid. Sad and mad. How could you just stand there? What do you have to recalibrate, Ira? What has to be? Has he never been in a game where they won before? Has he never been in a game where they had a lead late and the game was over? Like, I don't it would be like their basketball coach, who I'm blanking on right now, who's been there for 20 years, Larinaga, with a 15-point lead with 20 seconds left, just chucking up shots and pressing and fouling. Right. And fouling the other team to get him back in the games. Like, hey, we had to recalibrate.
No, being up by 4 points
and
rushing it down and throwing up a layup off the backboard and then them running back the other way. I mean, it's the whole thing about the timeout and the recalibration. And no, man, you just had to say kneel on the ball or call the victory formation play that you should have. And then the great thing is he comes back 2 days later, and this is what we've seen. We've only done, I don't know, 6 or 7 of these shows yet now, but we've already had this conversation about a couple other coaches where they come after the game and just come up with the most outlandish, nonsensical explanations that make no sense. Nobody's going to buy it. Their wives wouldn't buy it. And then Monday, it's like, okay, all right, I'm going to come clean. We should have just called.
You guys got me.
Because that's what he did on Monday. On Monday's like, there's no excuse. We should.
So by the way, I believe there's an opportunity for one of the 3 of us or people all over the country who are good at this sort of thing. I would argue the 3 of us are very good, as are many football fans, very astute, of understanding time, score, timeout situation. We watch coaches all over the country blunder it, not to this extent, but blunder it in a way that is dumbfounding. It's absolutely hard to imagine. But here's the deal. Create a position where the guy's only job is to sit back and observe the last couple of minutes of a game. And if he witnesses a coach doing something as catastrophically stupid as this, to be whisked into the behind-the-scenes moment before you hit the dais to say, don't go out there and say what I think you're going to say, which is something that's a complete lie, and you're going to look even dumber. Here's what we're going to do, Coach. Swallow our pride. It's my fault. No excuses. Next question.
I think I have a better suggestion, Jeff. How about take that same person and just put them on a headset with 50 seconds left and say, hey, idiot, take a knee. We have won the game. The game is over. It'd be great if every coach had somebody like that. And we're going to see some others, I'm sure, in the rest of this show, where if they just hired somebody, I don't know, man, it's a part-time job, $31,000. Texas A&M can afford to hire somebody for $31,000 to work 13 Saturdays a year and make sure their coach, like Miami, doesn't do outlandishly stupid things.
It's the easiest thing in the world. And you could call it the idiot-proof guy, and his headset would say idiot-proof. And he's just sitting there, and then he's like, oh, give me the idiot-proof. And he puts him on real quick, and he's like, oh, we've got a dumbass moment coming up here, Coach. Let's avoid that. Here we go. Take a knee.
Maybe something like disaster control. He could be
that's better.
Disaster control. But also, but the all-timer, well, the two things about this. One is the bringing up the two hands on the ball. I mean, like, dude, that is the lowest, worst, disgusting thing you could say.
That's why I said you guys like the way he rolled his player.
I mean, that's unbelievable. That's beyond just excusing for yourself. Now it's trying to put it on a kid.
That kid should be out the door.
Yeah.
And the other thing that, and we talked about a little bit on Seminole Headlines on Tuesday, the last play doesn't get any discussion. But the fact that you're near midfield and you have one of the top quarterbacks in the country and don't just try to throw a Hail Mary, but instead run the 666 reverse double pass nonsense playground thing, that's part of the disgusting final minute of
every
that
time
game.
you bring that up, Ira, and you say the last play, and then one of the best quarterbacks in the country, I keep thinking, man, Haynes King isn't that good. I keep thinking you're talking about Georgia Tech's last play, not the play to end the game. What was funny about the broadcast, because Hasselbeck, and we're still not clear which one it is, Matt or Tim, whoever's on the broadcast, he said he's trying to be polite as he's criticizing, and he's like, "Look, I don't know what the chart says." He brings up the chart as like a 2-point chart. Like, I don't know what the chart says or analytics say. And I'm like, there's no chart that has ever been written that said 33 seconds left, other team has no timeout. Snap it and hand the ball off.
He did say, because he does know, and he wants you to know that he knows, you don't have to do this.
Yes, correct.
Quote, unquote.
You don't have to do this. Yeah.
This was, by the way, for the people at home, this was almost our first called emergency coach.
It was a red alert.
We almost had to hop on that night and do a special edition, but we
I
didn't.
would have been spirited. I'd had a few beers. We should have done it.
Yeah.
That was good. I was watching with a cold one in my hand. I would have been ready to go. I couldn't believe what I was witnessing.
Shane Beamer took a little flack on Twitter for finger pointing after South Carolina's collapse against Florida last week. Let's hear it.
I haven't had a chance to really ingest it, but looking at the defense, just what did you see as the main problem out there?
I saw the main problem, David. We call pressures and we don't run them. We play man coverage and didn't do a great job of keeping leverage. I mean, just in the first half alone, we ran a pressure where the corner came and for some reason he stopped, and we gave up an explosive pass because we didn't continue to run the pressure. We had another pressure call where we didn't run it in the first half. We had a holding penalty in the secondary in the first half. We had another pressure on a third down backed up where we're going to be off the field in the first half, and we didn't execute it properly. We talked to our guys about not jumping around the quarterback. We jumped and got beat on a pump fake. We had an offsides in the first half, so just did not play clean football. And then at the end of the day, we had some calls that were perfect calls. We ran a edge pressure. If somebody said, hey, a team is getting ready to run a reverse, what would be the perfect call? You would bring both people off the edge. We did it. We had a perfect call sometimes, and their guy made the play and we didn't. But we got good kids in that room. They're going to continue to make those plays. We've got to continue to do a better job of coaching them and putting them in position to make those plays.
We got good kids who suck at football, guys.
Yeah.
The best, there's so many great parts about, but my favorite is the fact when the guy asks the question, what
He's
wrong
grabbing
with
the sheet.
He pulls out the sheet and unfolds it. Oh, I'm going to tell you exactly how these kids screwed me
Yeah.
time and time again.
Did you see how much perfection was on display out there tonight that those kids ruined?
Perfect call after perfect call. We're like the Buddy Ryan 85 Bears, except these slappies don't do what we tell them to do.
In fact, if Buddy could rise up from the grave and see what I called, he'd be like, bravo, Shane.
You're doing it. You perfected defensive football.
We call pressures. They don't run them. It's like, what kind of team is this, Shane?
I love that.
It's a team of outlaws and renegades that just do what they want.
So
guys, you don't believe in Shane. By the way, I'll tell you this much. I would love to watch the film of a corner who's told to come on a corner blitz and just stops. I would like to be in that because Shane isn't going to have a lot of patience this week, guys.
So he did because this thing blew up. I actually got a text from a friend in the business that night, like, "Hey, did you see Shane Beamer?" And it wasn't even about Coach Speak. I don't think this person even knows Coach Speak exists, but they were just, I don't know, that's hard to believe. But but they were like, "Did you see Shane Beamer's press?" So I went and watched it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And then the next day, he does a teleconference on Sunday. He does a teleconference like old time coaches used to do, which good for you, Shane, with the local media. And he started off by clarifying because he's been buried about this. So he started off by clarifying. I just want to clarify, just like he did with the hot dog guys. Remember the first show he did, the chain gang, that he was mad because they went and got a hot dog when he was trying to do an onside kick. And so he starts off same exact thing. Like, I just want to clarify, guys, every time I talk in a press conference, I take the blame for everything. It's all on the coaches. It's all on me.
Yeah.
And then he just spirals into blaming the kids again. Like the rest of the press conference.
Can't help himself. By the way, the other reason he was so mad about that onside kick, because that too was a perfect call, but this time ruined by some fat asses on the chain.
Yeah. It'd be cool if he could have some competence around him to appreciate he and his coaching staff's genius. Yeah, that was I just don't know. I don't think I've ever seen a coach quite do what he just did. And he never came back and was like, but hey, we got to coach them better. At the end, if you noticed it, he says, we got to continue to coach them. Not we've got to coach better, because you can't coach any better than that South Carolina staff is doing, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Perfect calls, perfect coaches, a bunch
Ira,
of.
do you think, Ira, since you and I both chuckled heartily at him grabbing that sheet so quickly,
man.
He was waiting for the question. Do you think that he actually wrote down in there, like, 16 forgets to run, 32 doesn't get pressure?
Perfect call. Another perfect call. Great call. Touchdown, Florida. Great call. We've just lost the game.
He's got exclamation points now. Another perfect call ruined.
Yeah.
So that was the Florida game that they lost. They were up 10 with like 5 minutes to go, I think.
Up 10 with 4 to play.
Wow.
And they gave up like 400 yards passing. They are now, I think, second in the country, second worst pass defense in the country.
It'll hurt your feelings.
And then Shane walking off the field's like, somebody get me a pen. Somebody get me a pen.
Yeah.
And he starts making his list.
This absurdism.
This is Dabo after the Miami loss. Dabo, my guy's going through it.
Yeah, he is.
To Miami, hard-fought win, and hey, ebbs and flows in the game on both sides, and they found a way to win, and we found a way not to win. So just an unbelievably disappointing game. You got to what we want, we have to deserve, and we didn't deserve what we wanted. We obviously wanted to win, and we didn't deserve it. We deserved exactly what we got, because when you when you turn the ball over, the way we're turning the ball over,
and then the camera zooms in on the mic.
We turn the ball over the way we turn the ball over.
Oh, he knocked everything down.
It's hard to win. I mean,
just to be clear, that was an RPO on the last play.
No, it was a handoff. 100%. We had a handoff. Just pulled it. I got no answer. Just trying to do too much. So no RPO. It's a give, and we just didn't do it. I can't.
So some coaches have employed sports psychiatrists. Have you ever done that?
Oh, we got him. We got him. He's probably on suicide watch right now. Yeah. We got him.
Oh no.
Yeah, he had to. I think he issued an apology the next
Apology
day
for that. I knew that was coming. Can I just tell you, he is very, very close to slapping that mic off the wall.
Yeah.
Like when he put it back up, you can, Corey. We've been
It's
there.
real close.
It's close. I've seen that. I've been that kind of angry. I've seen that before. There, he is this close to just being like, you know what? It's just
when he tries to put it back on the podium and it kind of fumbles again, he's like, you know what? Go, and then just
he is
smashes
that
it.
close. Everybody go back and watch him readjust that mic.
He wants to throw it through the wall.
He's a second away from throwing that thing.
And if he had been talking about the handoff or non-handoff as he was fumbling with the mic, he might have broken it in half and thrown both of them up against
the maddest my dad ever got at me. Well, maybe one of the top 5 times he was most mad at me. I had left a bunch of homework papers and stuff on the table in our dining room, and he was trying to find something. He couldn't find it, and he's like, "It's probably in those papers." And he goes over and he's fumbling through the papers, and then he just takes all of my stuff and just throws it on the. He's so mad, and he's like, "Clean this crap up." I'm like, "It wasn't there 2 seconds ago." Like you.
Yeah.
He's more mad at me because now the mess is on the floor. Anyway, yeah, I can feel that in Dabo.
I'm going to watch that again when we're done. I've been there. It is that close, man. And anybody who's a parent watching that has been in that moment where you're telling your kids something and they don't listen, and then you tell them again and they don't listen. And like that third time, you're like, you know what? We're getting real close here.
Yeah, well, and usually when a coach is asked about, because he handled it better when Klubnik made the wrong decision against Florida State in the overtime by throwing it on 3rd and an inch, and then losing 1.5 yards.
Yeah,
this one he's like
compassion the first time.
He's like, maybe we got to coach him better. He's got to know. We got to tell him. You just
really they told him you've got to give when we tell you to give.
And then this one, he's like, he's not protecting him at all. He's like, nope. You're going to wear this, kid. It was a handoff to last time I checked, a pretty good running back.
Yeah.
We got a pretty good running back that's pretty hard to tackle. He might get 1 yard, but instead we got our freshman quarterback, dolly, picking and trying to beat that kid to the edge.
He could run from now until the end of time, and he's not finding that.
He's not turning the corner. He should have turned back the other way.
I think maybe at some point the other kid would have got bored. Or distracted.
Yeah, he's just chasing them for 1.5 miles.
Yeah.
We've all been matched up against somebody who's physically superior to us. It's one thing to deal with that. It's another when they toy with you, like a cat does a mouse.
Yeah, just kind of pushing them every now and again.
Sideways, that dude could be like, where are you going?
Where you going? Yeah, where you see? Hey, have you turned the corner yet? Have you turned the corner? Did you get the ball to Shipley?
You want to try to cut back now?
Go ahead, buddy. What you got? You got nothing. It's just awful.
He could have just not even tackled him out of bounds.
Yeah.
Just stood in front of him.
Oh,
yeah. Just kind of guarding him like he's got.
Want to go up in the stands?
Yeah. So Dabo was quite upset with good reason, but his team played horribly for the first 60 minutes too. It wasn't
everybody
just that one
watching
play.
Coach speak. Be on the lookout. We're close to a moment, either a pounding of the dais, a throwing of papers, a knocking. We're close.
This is Jim Harbaugh. I know we said no more Jim Harbaugh, but this was too good. You guys got to go back and watch the full press conference. Obviously, the sign stealing scandal going on. They couldn't really ask a whole lot of questions about that. They still found a way to. This one was interesting, though. It's a double question. They ask Harbaugh what he thinks about night games and also how he keeps a one-track mind, and he did not keep a one-track mind when answering this question.
Strategies do you use to keep a one-track mind, and what do you think of night games? 2 questions. Night games this late in the season, to clarify.
Yeah. I just channel my inner William Wallace. And that's
Braveheart.
That's the visual I think of.
Now you're Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
Night games, the team's prepared to play 12 o'clock kickoffs, 3:30, 7:30, 9, whatever it is.
10, 5.
It's a team that's
1,
6:15
understands and prepares, and whatever the situation. It's not always going to be 72 and 0 humidity either. I mean, there's going to be, could be cold, could be wet, could be
80, could be
hot,
70,
dry,
93,
so
61.
They don't have to have everything set perfect.
Sometimes it's 54.
Yeah, sometimes it's 11.
Or like field corn.
Field corn?
As opposed to being a houseplant.
J.J. McCarthy said last week.
Nothing against houseplants. They have their function. They can be beautiful in the home.
Oh, Jesus.
They can bring great beauty and value to a home. But
oxygen.
But the field corn just drop
What is he saying?
Field
corn.
Burrow down and
field corn.
Come up
Corn
with
you plant in the
energy
field.
Corn
that it
that's
can
out there in
find
the field,
and
Corey, it can take
rise
it.
up in a stalk-like fashion and just start producing. What do you, I'd say that's what our team's more like.
Be like field corn.
Not a
Be
house
like field corn
But
today.
it's, again, that's the sign they hit on the way out. It's not
Penn
play
State's
like a victor.
Penn State's a bunch of houseplants, guys.
Yep.
We're field corn.
He was very worried that he offended somebody with his houseplant comment.
Yeah, he went back
you can
to
rip
it.
houseplants without people. There's no backlash to that.
Also, just his mannerisms, his way of speaking, his cadence is like, I feel bad for the reporter that's starting to ask about the quarterback. And he doesn't even notice that there's somebody asking a question. He looks over a little bit, but he's like, no, I still got this. I got a whole chunk of field corn. I got to get out of my chest. I got to get off my chest. I got to get this out of my brain. And he interrupts the guy's question to go back to houseplants and field corn.
It really is like that SNL skit, Corey, you talked about last time we had Harbaugh on, where like when they go back into his office, he's like, all right, now I need stallions on a plane to Michigan State next week.
Back to work.
Yeah.
I'm going to play this bumbling idiot that talks about nonsense, but I need those codes broken down so we know what Purdue's running on Saturday.
Regimented, talks at a normal rate of speed, focused, concise, right? And then he steps to the dais with giant glasses on and stares all around the room and contemplates field corn.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome.
And like, I wonder if he tells the staff, like, watch this one. I got a doozy. I got a doozy on board for this one, ready to go. When they ask me about night games, I finally got a chance to talk about houseplants and field corn.
And William Wallace.
Without
William Wallace,
without offending any houseplant lovers out there.
Yeah. It's like there was a voice inside his brain. It's like, oh, you better circle back and make sure.
It's the voice that Narduzzi should have entertained more.
Sean Elliott. He is at Georgia State, and they had a tough loss, 42-14 to James Madison. And he was fired up. This is actually his opening statement. I included the first question after just because I kind of wanted to see how he would respond to a question after this rant. But here it is.
Go. Well, it's pretty obvious that we got our ass kicked today by a pretty good football team. And they get all the credit. James Madison's a good football team coming in here undefeated. Man,
was he playing?
In the league, all that stuff right there. You'd have thought we'd have doggone showed up to the party today to doggone fight this team. But man, we fought for a little bit. We didn't fight for 4 quarters. It was I can't put my finger on it. But it was a poor execution by me as a head football coach. It was poor execution by our entire staff. It's poor execution by our players. Poor execution by our entire football program. Had an opportunity to go out there and defeat these guys.
Good
Felt
grief
like we
with
had
the
team
towel.
to do it, but we did not have the team to do it today. Did not have the team to do it today. First time I've seen all season us kind of play like that, and for whatever reason. But it was a disappointing game. You sit there and, boy, we're down by 7 at halftime, and I don't understand. I really have no idea how you don't come out. You got the 23rd ranked team in the country. They're 8-0. They're undefeated. They're tops in our leagues. And we come out and we put a doggone effort like that in the second half. It makes no sense to me. You've got to have a doggone competitive nature that wants to drive you. And then you fight and you fight and you fight and you fight and you fight. And if they beat you, great. But it just felt like we were just giving in. We're just giving in play after play after play after play. Just give in. Oh, well. And that's what happened. That's what happened. Yep. It's the last time we will play like that. That's the last time this football team will play like that.
I believe it.
I do too.
It's an embarrassment. It is an embarrassment.
Any questions?
Right after the game, but is there anything you could pinpoint
point as you were watching that was what was going wrong?
Yes, everything. Lack of fight, lack of focus, lack of effort, lack of coaching, lack of execution, lack of playing. Everything. Lack of fan support, lack of it all. This is the 23rd ranked team coming into our place, 8-0, undefeated. Ain't a few undefeated teams in the country. You would think there would have been some juice, some excitement to go plate this football team. Hell, we might as well have been playing a doggone spring game at 6 a.m. the way it felt out there today.
What are the odds he's punched a player?
I mean,
Very
he's throttled one. He's
Very
throttled
high.
one for sure.
I think this is my new favorite clip.
Oh man.
I can't decide whether I love this guy or I fear this guy. I can't. Like, he does look like a dude who would beat all of our asses at some point if we covered Georgia
no
State.
question. No question. Yeah,
You
tread
seem
lightly.
a little unhinged, just a little bit unhinged there.
Like, he's the guy at the grocery store yelling at the dude behind the counter where you're like, look at my man. He's about ready to throttle this poor bad guy.
What do you mean you don't have the filtered cools? Here's the thing. Like the one nice twist he had on it was the execution of the coaches.
Yeah.
You rarely hear
anybody
mad about the execution of the coaches. So I
The
appreciate
way we
that.
called these plays, it wasn't convincing.
And the people that listen to this podcast, you really do need to go back and just watch his first 30 seconds.
The sweat.
It looks like he just stepped out of a shower. He is wiping himself down as if Ira said, like he just got done with a 12-round fight. I mean, he could not. It's for the first minute. He's wiping himself down.
He needed a corner man.
5 minutes in, he had to go back to the towel, Corey. 5 minutes in, he went back to it.
Getting himself worked up again. He's getting in a lather again.
I get that he coaches in Georgia, but it wasn't August.
No.
It was early November. How hot
it was like
it?
74 degrees, man.
Hey, Ben, this is a first on Coach Speak. Can I see the first 10 seconds of that clip again? I just want to hear him yell that right at the outset. It's too good.
I think I might have liked his first 10 seconds of his response to the question as much or more. Because he had lost his steam until that point.
It's pretty obvious that we got our ass kicked today. A pretty good football team.
You can stop it there. Why are they asking any questions?
Yeah,
I think he covered it. They should have been like, "Thanks, Coach."
Yeah,
Just
it's also how many people are there in that room anyway? 3. It's Georgia State football, maybe the James Madison contingent. But yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a football. I mean, because it's got to be at least 10 minutes after the game, right? Probably 20.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I don't know. He may have just gone straight there.
He's pouring sweat to the
It's
point
over with, boys.
he needed another towel.
Hey guys, this kind of sucks. We lost one of our frequent guests on Coach Speak as Jimbo Fisher was fired. He's laughing all the way to the bank, though, of course. But it's kind of crazy. At least this is what Jimbo thinks about it. They were just a couple plays away from the playoffs, guys. How did he get fired?
That close.
Night like tonight where you're using your third string quarterback and you play as well as you do. Does it just make this season just that much more frustrating and head scratching for you?
No, it's not frustrating. I mean, disappointing at times. Like I said, we're 3 or 4 plays from playing in a playoff spot. But that's we got to put that past us and got to grow from it and learn from it for next year. But we got to finish out this year. Right there, we're 6-4. Need to be the best 7-4 team in the country and the best 8-4 team in the country. That's our goal, and it's what we can control right now. But no, I don't dwell on those things right now. I live in the moment, and that's getting ready. We got to be ready to play Abilene Christian next week.
What are those 3 or 4 plays that would have got them in the playoff?
And were they all in the Miami game when they got boat raced?
Yeah, if the Miami team had, if their bus had broken down on the highway from Coral Gables, that's one play right there. That's one play. They forfeit. Then you have to play them. You're 1-0 right there.
I like the way you do that, Corey. That way you don't have to focus on individual plays. You just take big picture approach and say, what if they didn't get to the stadium?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Once they got to the stadium, that offense, Texas A&M's offense, they were 40 plays away, probably 40 to 50 plays away from being a playoff team.
So maybe he just misspoke?
Yeah,
Instead
I
of 3 or 4,
40.
30 or 40 plays away.
30 or 40 plays away.
Did you notice, and it's tried and true, it is something that we have experience having covered Jimbo here in Tallahassee for those that aren't Knowles and are watching our affinity for covering Jimbo. I would say that, did you see the eye dart around the room when he posited to the world that they're only a few plays away from making the playoff. And the quick eye dart, because he knows how absurd that comment is. He wants to see, is there anybody in this room that's going to call me on that?
Is anyone buying this? Do you think he brought that up when they called him in to fire him the next morning? Because they said Russ Bjork said that it was kind of a quick, cordial conversation. So I guess they didn't allow him to present his case. That they
no retorts. It doesn't appear. There are rumors that he was told prior to the game against Mississippi State that this would be his last.
It'd have been weird that weird that he would have taken part in the press conference then. That's odd. It's odd to keep talking as if you're still the coach if you're not the coach. He wasn't contractually obligated to do that.
It was a pitch, Corey. It was a pitch. We're only 3 or 4 plays away, guys.
Yeah, he got
you
that.
Want to do this to me?
Yeah. I got to say, and if I'm not here for Abilene Christian, just know I got this team revved up. They're going to beat Abilene Christian now.
This close.
I did like when the questioner asked him, does that represent like just the frustration of the season? And Jimbo was like, no, not frustration. I'm getting $76 million to walk out this door.
Yeah.
There is no frustration here, buddy.
I still got a ring. It's from 10 years ago, but I got a ring. There's no frustration here.
I'm going to ride my horse, stare at my ring, from one ranch to the other.
Yeah.
From now until eternity.
Also,
over.
And we don't need to kick any more dirt on Jimbo. It's plenty of dirt that's already been kicked on him. But why? How can you say, other than you're being stubbornly obstinate, to say it's not frustrating? It doesn't make you look weak, Jimbo, to admit that this season has been frustrating. You know what I mean? It's frustrating. And the fans got to hear, no, I'm not frustrated. I live in the moment. We're trying to be the best 8-4 team we can be.
I think he's
great.
I think he should have said, have you ever seen a cow bathe in $100 bills? Because
I'm fixing to find out.
We're about to see that on one of my ranches.
Yeah. He should start an Instagram account, and the only pictures that he posts are pictures of something bathed in money. Himself in a bathtub, a horse, a cow. Yeah. He could be looking at wind chimes on his porch with money intertwined.
Horse stables, and all you see is the horses' heads and just cash surrounding them.
Yeah.
Like a suit made of money. Like a nude, almost a nude suit with just
like
dollar
the $1 Million
bills
Man from back in the days of wrestling. That's what he should do from here on out.
Hey, we've got a newcomer to the program, Vanderbilt coach Clark Leah. I think I pronounced that right. He was asked about rotating 2 quarterbacks, and neither quarterback was really able to get into rhythm. Pay attention to the end of his answer, though. I like what he highlights about one of his quarterbacks that played.
I think Walt gives us is an element of quarterback run, which can lighten the box. But I don't look at our performance today and say that necessarily it falls on Ken's shoulders. I think right now it's, hey, how are we designing wins? How are we executing those wins on the field? And, I appreciated the fact that when he was in there, he took care of the ball and gave us a chance to punt. We were able to get him pinned a couple times. And again, when you do that, you create some advantages for yourself as a team. We didn't play well enough to take advantage of those.
What? I've never heard that before. I literally have never. I've been watching this stuff my whole life. I've never heard that.
Just need you to give us a chance to punt, guys.
Please, son.
Need you to give us a chance to punt.
We're not looking for you to move the chains.
Deion should have been like, ask Clark Lee what a good job we're doing. I'm creating opportunities to punt out here.
We're punting all the time. 4th and 1, 4th and 4. Don't matter to me. We're punting.
Hey, the 5-5 Buffalo Bills are just pleading to Josh Allen every Sunday. Can you give us a chance to punt, dude?
Please give us a chance to punt.
You're killing us with all these picks, dude. Come on.
That's just the ultimate. That's the ultimate Vanderbilt football quote of all time.
The saddest thing ever. I mean,
I love it.
That's so sad to have that mindset.
You just give us a chance to punt, please.
Which one of you guys will give us a chance to punt and not just turn it over to the other team?
Yeah.
Can one of you do that?
That's a tough quarterback room. When you're a coach and you're standing before them, you're like, now listen, guys, on this play, we could lighten the box with your legs. If you want to run here, we've got opportunities, and that might set it up where we can punt.
That's our secret weapon. We want to get the ball on Teddy's foot. Yeah, that's all we're here for. We want to give Teddy a chance.
That's what I'm saying. He's not bad. We should.
Let's highlight. Let's accentuate the positive, gang. It's 3rd and 8, Ken. Ken, it's 3rd and 8. What are you trying to do here? Well, get a first. No. You're not trying to get a first down.
No.
Shut up, Ken.
I'm going to stop you right there, Ken.
It's ridiculous. I always want to bench you for even starting to make that sentence. We want about 4th and 4. Maybe we can get them to jump off sides when we line up to punt.
Yep.
But for God's sake, Ken, give us a fucking chance to punt. Let's go, Commodores, on 3.
Do you have the A on your helmet? Are you Alabama? Are you trying to score touchdowns? I don't think so.
Yeah, right. Look where you chose to come play football, son.
We're the punting capital of the world.
You punt and live to fight another day in the classroom.
That's right.
What you do. You
gotta
don't
be a
be out
doctor.
here on this gridiron.
Those 17 fans didn't come here to watch you fail on 4th down.
No.
They want to see
Get your
Teddy
damn
punt.
engineering degree and be done with it.
They want to see that parabola off of his foot. That's what they came here for.
That's what Nashville's all about.
Oh, good one, Ben. I like that. That was good. Give me the next guy.
Hey, what makes it even better, guys, is Vanderbilt's punter, Matt Hayball, has over 11,000 career yards.
No, he
punting.
doesn't.
That
No,
is
he doesn't.
NCAA record.
Are you kidding?
Over 11,000.
Get to know that name.
I've got the the stat here.
I mean,
this
how
was
many?
actually
Corey, you're our math guy. How many miles of punts is that?
Is that
8
like 2
miles?
miles?
7 miles? No, because it's yards. I mean, there's like
so that's 33,000
yards.
So that's 6 miles. That's over 6 miles of punts.
Yeah,
it's impressive.
Oh, Matthew is. I mean, I hope he's got an NIL deal.
He's punted like a whole 10K. That's crazy. He's punted
many
more
years
than a
from
10K.
now, he'll be at a bar, like a sports bar, watching a game, and 2 fans will be talking about whether they should punt or not. Let me tell you something about punting, guys.
Yeah. Funny story. You bring that up.
He should get one of those marathon stickers for his car.
Yeah, it's just
with this
it should
punting
be a
yard.
picture of an extended leg with the ball going in the air like that.
Like a 26.1.
Yeah.
I think a couple of our coach speak guys have been hanging out. Well, I don't think we've had Matt Rhule on here yet, Nebraska head coach, but it seems like he's been hanging out with PJ Fleck. He was asked about his emotions after senior day, a tough loss to Iowa. And
Please
he
don't
had
bring
a
up
strange
cancer.
comparison.
Please don't bring up
man.
cancer.
And Matt, you've been there 1 year. You don't even know these kids.
When you saw that interception tonight.
It's a cool jacket.
Yeah. I mean, I'll let the players talk about it. I just, like I said, I'm so confident in what we're doing and feel so great about the things that are happening and so excited to see where this thing's going to end up. I just feel crushed for those guys. As I told them, sometimes the first people to do things don't get to see the results. The first people to storm the beach at Normandy, the first explorers, you don't always get to see the end result. But I really can't say enough about these guys. I remember I can sit back to sitting there with Luke Reimer, Nick Heinrich, just sitting there saying yeah,
What in the hell?
I want to see where he's going.
There's nowhere to go. You can't undo that. You can't.
I want to see
unring
maybe he made another reference. He could have gone worse.
Bell?
The sailors on the USS Arizona. They didn't know that 4 years later Japan would surrender. They probably rest easy now. I can't imagine.
Should we come back? What's it going to be like, Coach? Will you give us a chance? You have this reputation of playing young players, and so I told them, just for Julie and me and Vivian, Leon, and Bryant, what an amazing year of just getting to know these guys. And so, I felt crushed for them. But at the same time, expecting us to stop them, thinking, hey, they can't make a 35-yarder, we'll block it all the way to the very end to see them block it. And, that's 3 walk-off field goals, to lose the year. That's tough. But they'll wake up tomorrow. We'll come in on Monday. We'll start working.
But
We'll
those
help the
guys
seniors
who
as they
stormed the
move on to the
beach
next
didn't
phase of
play.
life.
Guys who stormed the
And we'll
beach
get back to work. Too often people complain and whine and talk and all those things. We're going to work, and I think we got the young players to do it. So we'll be back.
So
you think in the back of his mind he knew he just had to keep talking?
I'm not sure. Here's the thing, that we've always operated under the assumption that maybe Matt Rhule was great and Aranda lived off of Matt Rhule's players and program when he won National Coach of the Year, with the COVID year or whatever. But Matt Rhule sucked with the Panthers.
Yes.
And he might be sucking here. So maybe he sucks too. I'm trying to figure out
He
We'll
won
see.
at Baylor. Look, he won at Baylor, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't even have a walkthrough room when he was winning at Baylor. I just want to point that out. They didn't have the facilities. So just realize that, Ira, as you're talking about Matt Rhule.
Right.
But he might. But also, like, you just, I don't know.
Common sense about you.
Yeah. Like I
on.
that's the first thing you think of, because I get the idea of, okay, we might be 10-2 2 years from now, and these guys that were there at the beginning, they don't get the love that they. We all get it, but those guys will still be living their lives as 24-year-olds somewhere. Some of them might be playing professional football. They might be married. Like, it's just an odd. It's an odd comparison to make to the guys that just ran up to essentially machine gun nests and got mowed down.
Generally speaking, you shouldn't compare your quest to win a football game to those that sacrifice their lives on Omaha Beach. That's just probably not a good idea in general. And it should occur to you before you utter it.
At the end of that statement, one of the reporters should have been like, do you have any other gems like that?
Yeah. Any other comparisons you want to throw out there, Hot Shot? I like also with him, I hadn't seen him much this year. The gray hair, Ira, you can speak to this a little bit. The gray silver hair, but the jet black goatee. What's going on there?
I wish I could speak to that. I need to do that.
By the way, I want to inform you that he is a candidate for the peninsula or isthmus that Jimbo Fisher had. That is a thicker set of hair than he had on the sidelines with the Carolina Panthers, my friends.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, he's getting more money probably.
Yeah. This is we've got the weave in full effect going on in Lincoln right now.
But why if you're going to dye, I assume he dyed the goatee. I could be wrong. I guess there's miracles that happen with hair where the top goes gray, but the chin stays black.
His mustache is pretty black.
Not all of it, though. Like, his is jet black. Like, the whole thing is jet black, and his hair is as gray as Ira's. Sorry, as silver as Ira's.
Well, he likes to think of himself as a freedom fighter, someone who liberates countries, liberates.
Right. Yeah. Much like our boys in Normandy. You're right. Good point, Ira.
New Indiana coach Curt Cignetti is full of gems. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you 3 separate clips throughout the show. We're going to start with his opening statement from when he was hired. And
guys, we could do the whole show with Curt Cignetti.
Where is he? Is he the James Madison coach?
Yes.
He was.
And
he got hired at Indiana now.
He's unbelievable.
All right,
I love
sweet.
me some Cignetti. Let's go.
I left a great job that I could have retired in with a contract through 2030 and won a lot of football games. But sometimes you got to make hard decisions in life. This was a hard decision for me.
That's what you want to hear from your...
Because you've got to be uncomfortable to grow. And I'm too young to stop growing. So this is an exciting opportunity at a prestigious university in the top football conference in the country. And there is no reason why we can't be successful, pack the stadium, and be a source of pride to the entire university and town and state of Indiana, town of Bloomington, state of Indiana. Okay? We're going to change the culture, the mindset, the expectation level, and improve the brand of Indiana Hoosier football. There will be no self-imposed limitations on what we can accomplish.
Okay.
It'll be a day-by-day process that is hinged on being focused on the present moment and improving as much daily as possible to put yourself in the best position tomorrow. It's how we do everything as coaches, players, everybody in the organization. And there is one leader, and he's standing here. I am standing, I believe. Still standing. Okay? In that building, and it's me. And everybody follows that lead. And that's one of the keys to success, is we have everybody thinking alike. All right? So we have a blueprint and a plan that has been successful, proven to be successful, and no reason it shouldn't be successful again. We're knocking all kind of things out today. All right? and looking forward to getting to work. So with that, questions.
So the first is I would ask him if he had the Glengarry leads.
Oh,
yeah.
Does he have the leads? Because I mean, we can't sell real estate without those leads. We're gonna come on, my man.
Coffees for closers.
Yeah.
There's like a I don't know. There's a combination of a like 7th grade shop teacher vibe, but also the 70s Rockford Files vibe. And you'll see throughout there are so many clips as you go on that are incredible. But he came from James Madison, but he acts like these losers in Indiana are so lucky to be graced by his presence. It's really incredible. The other ones are better.
Pointed out that his suit doesn't fit.
Right.
Yeah, he should have been like, "Is this my beautiful house? Is this my beautiful wife?" Like, yeah, that's a talking head suit from the early '80s. But like Ira's right. Like he was talking as if after every sentence the room was supposed to erupt in applause. He kept waiting for applause. Yeah. Like, what? Where's it? Why aren't y'all applauding me?
Can you believe these guys?
Yeah, I mean, but he was talking as if these were pearls of wisdom. That he wanted he gave everybody a second to let it wash over them what he was saying. And it's like, man, you're coming across, like Ira said, you're coming across as like a middle school teacher, man. Like this is, it's a weird vibe with him. He might be awesome. Maybe he turns Indiana into a juggernaut. I can't imagine that dude in a living room recruiting anyone with even 2 stars next to their name because he gives off weird vibes. Maybe that's just how he is in a press conference.
Yeah, once you get a bigger taste of him, I think you'll get a feel for what he's really bringing to them. And yeah, by the end of it last night, I texted Ben that the over/under is 40 kids going in the portal this week.
Oh, good.
Cignetti's a bad cop, and the whole city knows it.
Yeah,
that's who that guy is right there.
That's what it is. He seems like the guy. He seems like the cop.
Yeah.
That when the movie starts, he's like, oh, this is a good guy. He's the guy that's going to get to the bottom of this. He's the old wily veteran that's going to take the rookie under his wing. No, he's the corrupt one.
He's
the corrupt
been
one.
Very corrupt for a long time.
Yeah,
long time. He wears baggy suits, so you're not onto him.
Right,
but he's been stashing the money for years.
Yeah, oh, exactly right.
Yeah,
that's
right. Stashing the money for years.
Hey, let's keep it in the Big Ten. New offensive coordinator for the Nittany Lions, Andy Kotelnicki. I think I said that right.
Okay,
so instead of talking about his offensive philosophies and makes an interesting comparison so the reporters can understand where he's coming from here.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Do you go about simplifying the picture for the offense while presenting something complex to the defense, especially for the quarterback, so that player can excel at his position?
Yep. Well, I've had a saying for a while now, and players that have played with me could probably regurgitate it back. We always talk about win with speed. And so to your point about playing fast, right? Win with speed, right? Allow kids to think, react fast, everything like that. So you talk about complexity versus simplicity, okay? Simplicity will always win. Okay, but now I'm gonna go someplace. Do you like ice cream?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a Dairy Queen in town?
Yeah, of course. It's Pennsylvania.
Well, I'm sure there's a creamery too, right? I've had a little bit of that. It's fantastic, right? Okay, but here's where I'm going. Do you like blizzards? Okay,
Yep.
right? You had probably multiple different kinds of blizzards, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I like the Reese's.
Maybe you put Reese's peanut butter
Sprinkles.
cups and
Sprinkles
Reese's
on 'em.
Pieces.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Those are money.
Maybe you put Heath, right? There you
Ooh,
go.
that's a good
right?
one.
There's
Oh,
the
yeah.
top
Heath.
Heath right there.
Maybe a
You're the
Twix.
1%. Okay.
Cookies and cream.
So the blizzard in itself, right, is a wonderful dessert, right, which we should all use in moderation, correct?
Following you so far. Yep.
In itself looks complicated because it's messy inside, right? And the person working there puts it in the machine and the ice cream.
Okay.
But fundamentally, it's mostly made up of what?
Ice cream.
Vanilla ice cream.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
And some sprinkles.
So if you could equate offensive football to your favorite blizzard and understanding that what it's going to look like is going to be looking like a messy piece of deliciousness, but fundamentally is composed of really just vanilla ice cream
Yeah.
and your favorite candies, right? That's when we talk about simplicity versus complexion. right? So it's going to look really complex, but really at the end of the day, it's just two ingredients mixed together. So we want to make sure that we have
Blizzards.
the vanilla part of our offense mastered.
The base.
To the point that it's the solid foundation of everything
So-
that we can do.
So does Kirk
that when we
Ferentz.
mix in all that
Yeah.
goody stuff.
He wants to stay
right,
there. You're not allowed to add Reese's.
It's going to make something that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was off the top of my head, by the way, the Blizzard
Oh.
analogy.
No
Okay,
chance.
hopefully it made sense. We were able to kind of connect those dots. For
No
those of you who are
chance.
lactose intolerant, I'm sorry.
That did not happen. There's
On
no
the
chance.
top of his head, he used the Blizzard reference. Come on, man.
You know how when you eat a Blizzard really fast and you get that headache?
Oh,
Yeah.
That's what I got listening to that analogy. That for some reason he talked to us like we were 6 years old and needed an hour to understand that very complex
he was
thing.
trying
That
to
he
find
just
a way
came
to
up
bring
with.
it on home and land at Ira, and he was struggling. I mean, that was just a guy trying to find a way.
I wonder if he used that in the interview with Franklin.
Let's hope
Like,
not.
what do you see for our offense? Well, Coach, I'm glad you asked. And he has a cooler full of Blizzards.
Coach, have you ever had a Blizzard?
Yeah, I bet you have, haven't you, Coach? Well, look at this. This is vanilla ice cream, but I put some Heath Bar in there. I put some Twizzlers, just some
Twizzlers?
flakes. Well,
I'd fire you on the spot if you're throwing Twizzlers
that's a
in
good
your
point.
Blizzard.
Twizzlers suck. It's the first candy that came to my mind. Sorry,
Just
my
off
bad.
the top of your head, Corey.
It's just off my dome. I didn't know this was even a thing. That's really exciting to watch.
Do you think he thought that would like become like a viral coaching clip sensation, or do you really
So-
think?
Well,
or-
at the end, he tried to rescue it because he knew it was stupid. He
Yeah.
failed. He failed his one chance to use this Blizzard reference, and he failed miserably. You could just see the look of disappointment. Well, I was just talking. I hope I made sense to y'all. He knows. He knows he didn't make any damn sense.